if you're never going to use it.
And my sisters don't want it, or my nieces. I mean, okay, you know, or if I think it's worth something. I've had things where I'm like, holy cow, I remember how many thousands of dollars I paid for this bag. And then you want to sell it and it's in great condition. I only used it 5 times and I'm going to get $750 for it.
Just keep it.
Yeah.
I had earmarked that of like when she was like, whatever, it was like 2 million over like 10 years. And I'm like, everyone who's listening to this podcast right now, listen, maybe everyone listening right now has $2+ million. And I'm not being condescending. I'm just saying you're out of touch with reality. Like the average human being will never see in their bank account and whatever $2 million. And if you don't realize that, you are out of touch with reality. How is that? Like I think like a Kathy Hilton or a Sutton, I think they get it. Like we are very rich compared to society. Right?
Yeah. Yes. And I think that the difference is that when, you know, you build it together, or, you know, for instance, Sutton's thing, and she said, you know, people who have money don't really talk, who have real money don't talk about what they have. You just don't. And, you know, whether Kathy's money comes from something that her and Rick made together, you know, I don't know what she got after the Hilton thing sold. I don't, you know, or was it money that she and Rick built, and they built their dynasty. They had a good head start, but they really got to where they are based on their hard work. I mean, I met them decades ago, and I never thought that it was like so crazy money, you know, like how it is now. But blowing through someone's money because you think it's a, you know, water coming out of the tap, and just spending it on glam, you know, to $1,500 to get your makeup done for one night where you come home and you wash it off, and you're going to do that how many days a week? $1,500, I think, is what Scott Barnes charges.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I understand like, okay, let's go out for the night. Let's go to this like charity event or whatever. But my price point for that is like, you know, less than $1,500, like it all in. So I don't really understand that either, you know?
Yeah.
My outstanding quote last week that just stood out was when Andy was like, you know, do you think it's tone deaf, this and that, and the consumption? And she's like, what consumption? As she's getting on the private plane. This week, my quote that stands out is where Andy's like, you know, you seem very angry and this and that. And like, you know, you isolated these women that are on the couch. And she says, I might have isolated America. I haven't isolated these women. I'm like, or no, she didn't even say America. She's like, I haven't isolated them. I'm like, honey, you've isolated the entire country.
Thank you. She has no clue. But that again is the narcissistic behavior. It doesn't matter. To her, it does not matter that people don't understand who she is, what she's thinking, how she feels. She doesn't care. It's only about her.
Standout quote of the night. He was like, you isolated. She's like, I haven't isolated anyone. I'm like, that is the mic drop of the entire season. You have isolated everybody.
She was surprised when he said it. Like she was what? I haven't done that. And all of their faces were literally, and Garcelle said, that's why when she snapped at Chris or whatever, and she goes, that's why we don't want to come to you with anything. It's not safe.
That's the other thing where she kept saying, you know, that scene where they were all there and she's like, you should have come to me. I should have been invited. It's like, we come to you and here we are. We're right in front of you now and you're snapping our heads off. And that's when like Dorit even chimed in, and then Dorit was like, oh shit, I better shut up because I'm going to piss off.
But do you think that any of them, maybe other than Rinna, really truly want to be her friend now after they've seen her like this? Even if you had to do it for this show, you'd keep that a distance.
I
You
think Dorit will
Oh.
do anything. I think Dorit will do anything to stay on the show. I think
I don't like that. That to me is like, I mean, is that your self-worth? Like, do you really feel like you have to take that smack from everybody, let people talk to you so poorly, you know, be portrayed that way? We have to put all this out there like a, you know, like a trick and show pony. You know, come on. I don't
like it. Like, listen, I think next season Sutton isn't going to back down. I think the biggest change next season will be Garcelle and Crystal. I think they will, Crystal especially, but even Garcelle is going to come in like, she had a voice this season, but she really has one now. I think those three are going to be like, we don't give a fuck. I do think Dorit would, yes. Dorit is a dog and pony show. And if you want her to do tricks and turn cartwheels for her supper, I think Dorit will get down on all fours and put up her paws and beg, as long as she can have her, you know, if Erika was making 6, she was probably at like 4.95, and she needs to stay because she loves her Louis and her Balmain. I do.
Well, she's another one who's spending more than she's bringing in.
100%. That's where, to me, it's like, if you take Erika out of it, because like, I mean, she's not going anywhere now. And I mean, based on her interaction with Andy, she's not getting fired. I think Dorit is the imposter on the couch. Sorry, I'm not coming for her. I just think it never dawned on me before. The cast was different, but with this cast, I think Dorit is the one that sits there like, I'm lucky to be here. Like, right? Like, we can picture this show without Dorit at some point soon.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I think that Crystal, I think that the trio, the Trinity next, or this coming season, is going to be Sutton, Crystal, and Garcelle. That is going to be, if they can figure this out now, that is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
Everyone, to be honest with you, they all kind of, if those three pull it together, they will. I mean, who's going to take them down? No one, unless they serve it up.
I don't think they will. And like, I do talk to so many housewives, like after their second season, and a lot of them are like, I just didn't know. I never watched. I didn't understand it. And a lot of them get right. Like, you're raising your hand.
I had no clue. I really didn't. I thought I could do it like with one hand tied behind my back. Like, come on. No, because it's the editing though, David. You really can't. That's the 13th man on the field, or the 12th man on the field, I should say. That's the part that you cannot plan for, because you don't know it, the way they're editing things.
Listen, you are not the only one season wonder. There's a lot of one season wonders. But if you take them out of the equation, the people that get a second season that maybe shouldn't have, based on America, when they come to the second season, they get it. And then it's like Wendy Osefo on Potomac right now. People come back and then they're like, now I got it. And this isn't me. This isn't me, but I want the job. So now I got it. So now I'm showing up. So I feel Crystal is one of those. Like, she's not dumb. She was on my podcast. I think Crystal now is like, didn't know what she was doing. She watched the show. She's a fan, not just of Beverly Hills. She's a fan of every franchise.
Smart. She's a smart girl. You can tell. Yeah.
And I'm not criticizing her. I just think in this dynamic, she went home and said, I got it. She didn't get fired. I think Crystal's going to be the biggest change this season and be like, here I am. I'm going to play.
I hope so.
And I think Garcelle is going to go from understanding it to like really just being like, I'm not taking your shit.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I've been reading, I saw these things, how Erika's hoping for a gentler, whatever, like a more forgiving How? Where? What? I mean, with what? How? And you know what? That honestly would be such bullshit if they start editing her to make her look softer and sweeter, and they don't touch on all of this that's going on, because and then I think that the viewers will get bored quick. I really do.